And welcome back to Celestia Astrology. My name is Sonia. Thank you so much for joining me for this Astro mindfulness exercise and introduction with a bit of an explanation of the astrology for this lunar eclipse in Taurus. This is the last of the eclipses in Taurus. They started in 2021. At the end of 2021, we had an outer sign eclipse in Taurus, and that was the first. And then that's been going on for 2 years while we've had the lunar nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. So there's been a story for the last 2 years for you that's now concluding, coming to an end. And with lunar eclipses, we're asked to release and let go of something. But what we're seeing with this last eclipse, which we also saw with the very first one, is that it's a out of sign eclipse. It's a partial eclipse, and this is because the lunar node is actually in Aries, while the sun and the moon is in Taurus and the sun is opposite in Scorpio. So for a lunar eclipse, we always see that it comes at the time of a full moon, which means that the Earth has travelled in between the sun and the moon. So the shadow is cast upon the moon, and it's the Earth that's creating that shadow, where the moon is usually reflecting the sun's light, but it can't do that any longer because the Earth is creating the shadow. So from Earth we see the moon, it often is pictured turning red as it enters that shadow. So that's what we can expect to see during this time. And I'm recording from the UK, and on the 28th we can expect that to begin around 7 p.m. and it comes to its maximum fullness around 9:15 p.m. Like I said, we're seeing the end of this conclusion of this story that's been lasting two years or so. But because it's out of sign and we've got the lunar node in Aries, as well as with the lunar eclipse, we're often seeing themes of letting go of things and a release. And with a full moon as well, that's a completion and a release of something. But because of this node being in Aries, that's often the start of something new. It's new energy coming in as well. So you've got these two forces going on at the same time. So we might see that in the events that we're noticing around this time. And it doesn't just happen on the day. Don't expect dramatic events on the day as such. It's quite often in this time between eclipses, small things that you might not even notice at the time, but they may grow over time. They can become pivotal in our lives given longer to materialize, and they become significant, although we don't realize it at the time. A chance meeting maybe of somebody that becomes important, but we don't realize, we don't see the full picture yet of what this will mean for us, or something that you started, or something that you've released that's made room for something to start. So those are the kind of things we're looking at. And if you are aware of your astrological chart, you can find it for free on websites like AstroSeek or astro.com by entering your birth data. If you're familiar with your chart and you know what houses Taurus and Scorpio sit in for you, and also Aries, you'd be able to see what areas of your life are impacted as well. And that would give you more information about where to expect these changes that the eclipse brings in. And we often see endings and beginnings, significant ones, around this time. And particularly this may affect those people with major astrological placements in the fixed signs, which are Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius or Taurus. And by that I mean not just the sun in those signs, but also the moon or the ascendant and other planets. So with Taurus, we're looking at an earthy sign. It's a feminine or yin sign that brings a grounded energy for us, stability and sensuality. So this is sort of counter to what we expect with an eclipse of significant endings and beginnings, because this is very stable and fixed energy. So in that sense, it often resists change. So therefore, this change that's coming in can be hard for those with Taurus placements to adjust to. So sometimes they need that eclipse energy to put them back on the path that they're meant to be on. This nodal shift that we're seeing is an indicator of fated new beginnings. So even as we're prompted to release the old stories, we're seeing these new beginnings come in. So as well as this push and pull between the full moon with the sun in Scorpio, because it's Scorpio season at the moment, so the sun is travelling through Scorpio, and the full moon is in the opposite sign of Taurus, which creates the full moon when they're exactly opposite. The sun is co-present with Mars and Mercury. They therefore also have an influence on this eclipse. So they're signifying an intensified emotional and communicative energy coming in. Scorpio is elemental for water. So it brings in emotional themes for us. And again, Scorpio is a fixed energy, a feminine yin energy. So the way that it operates, being ruled by Mars, is action-oriented, but with that more thoughtful approach, a more planned approach, and a more strategic approach. Maybe it's looking more for the win-win rather than the rushing in of action, the hot, inflamed, quick response that hasn't thought of any consequences. Maybe it's looking very carefully at all the possible outcomes before it acts. And so we see this eclipse inviting us to embrace themes of catharsis and to speak our deepest truths at this time. So you may find a build-up of emotion within you and to feel pulled to resolve difficulties. Really, we're being urged to step into the next chapter of our lives, to conclude the chapter that opened 2 years ago at the end of 2021 and step forward now. Before we begin the exercise, you may like to think if there's any truths that you've been withholding, if there's any emotional themes that you've maybe feel that you've been suppressing, or any feelings that are rising up in you that you want to address. And just keep them in mind as we move through the exercise and work on those. We had the solar eclipse 2 weeks ago, and the eclipses always come in pairs, one solar eclipse and one lunar eclipse, so that gives us the opportunity to bring new energy in and to release the old energy. So if you feel ready to do that, we'll now begin the Astro Mindfulness exercise, and I would like to invite you to settle comfortably, whether you're sitting or lying. If you're sitting, just place your feet gently in contact with the ground, hip or shoulder width apart, and bring your attention slowly to your breathing. Feel yourself grounded in the present moment. Focus your attention on the breath and the air just entering your body and then leaving. You don't need to change your breathing in any way. Just become fully aware of it. What do you notice about it? You feel the temperature. Can you follow its journey into your body and back out? Do you pause before breathing out? Do you notice where the breath enters your body? As you follow the journey of the air through your body, is there a part of your body where you notice it the most? Maybe it's your nose, roof of your mouth, or the back of your mouth, back of your throat, base of your throat or your chest, maybe at your heart center or in your lungs. Is there one place you can bring your focus to now? In mindfulness, we call this place your mindfulness anchor. When you breathe, just try breathing into this anchor. Your anchor is always with you. It can be with you at any time, particularly when times are unstable, like during eclipse energy. So when you need to take a minute for yourself, just breathe into your anchor. Now you can do this at any moment without anyone else around you being aware. You can take 1 breath, 3 breaths or 10. There's no limit, it's for you. So as you're breathing, imagine yourself approaching a moonlit lake in the full moon. You're going there to watch the eclipse. You see a tree that seems to be inviting you, and you sit down with your back resting against the tree. And as you sit there, you feel yourself rooted to the earth. You feel the sturdiness of the ancient tree behind you, supporting you. It invites you to visualize Taurus energy, the stability of that tree. It feels Taurian to you. The sturdiness of the trunk supporting you, and the roots that you know sink way below the earth, further than you can see. And you reflect for a moment on the support that that's offering you. Now you look across the lake, and the full moon shining on the lake. And you contemplate in the water the Scorpio energy in your life. The water looks still, like fixed Scorpio energy, and yet it offers transformation and hidden depths. You feel that you're being invited to confront the hidden depths of your own emotions and truths. Can you create a vision in your mind's eye in front of you now of any of the hidden depths of your emotions and truths that you may have been avoiding or that have come up for you at this time? And just see them in front of you as a vision. There's no need to judge them or enter the story of them. Just see the truth of it. Illuminated by the full moon. Then reflect on the fact that the moon is opposing Mars. This is bringing to light the intensity of your inner conflicts and the battles that you face within. Bring them into focus within your vision as well. Add them. Those conversations that you have with yourself. Embrace them without judgment, but add them to your vision. And know that every emotion has its own place in the grand design. With Mercury joining Mars, opposing the moon, now consider the way that you communicate and the way that you have been communicating. Reflect on this full moon and the way that it's bringing you the opportunity to speak your truths now and let your emotions flow, guided by the wisdom of these planets. Allow your truths and your emotions to flow freely into this vision. Allow them all to mingle. What does the vision look like now? Don't judge the vision. It's yours. As you sit looking at the lake, do you feel ready to release any of this part of your vision? Is this something you want to hold on to? Or is it something you're ready to release? If you're ready to release it, imagine standing up now from the tree. Can you scoop the vision up with your hands and carry it carefully to the water's edge? The eclipse is starting now. The moon is still brightly lit by the sun, but you see it starting to cast into shadow. Starting to turn red. You place what you hold in your hands, your vision, down at the water's edge, releasing your thoughts, emotions, and truths into the edge of the water. You see it float on the surface, and you move your hands away gently. Are you still breathing? Can you breathe? And if you're ready to let them go, just breathe and see if they float away. Watch them as the moon darkens and they ripple away, dissolving into the lake, ready to go further on into the sea and into the depths of the water. Keep breathing. As the eclipse energy intensifies, envisage these old patterns and suppressed truths being eclipsed now by the gentle guiding light of the moon, the ruler Venus, and the transformative energies of Scorpio and ruler Mars. This lunar eclipse brings your opportunity to undergo catharsis and release. And you've done that by creating this vision and letting it go. When you feel ready, return your focus to your breathing and breathe into your anchor. How do you feel now? Do you feel lighter, or do you feel there's still more there? Were you ready to release those things? Only you can know. As you see the shadow fully pass over the moon, you start to feel ready to leave now. Keep breathing into your anchor. Keep allowing the energies of the eclipse, the transformative catharsis energy, and the stabilizing touch of Taurus, and the peace and loving, harmonious touch of ruler Venus to permeate your very being and support you in this work. As you exhale, release any lingering tensions. Recognize that this eclipse marks a turning point, where the old stories dissolve and the next chapter of your life beckons. In ancient astrology, we notice that change is a constant, and part of our purpose in our journey is to flow with it, adapting and growing and aligning with the fates that we see in the stars. So if you feel ready to embrace that, breathe into your anchor again and know that you were ready for the change, that you are renewed and released. And when you feel ready, open your eyes, stretch out your arms, your legs, move your toes. And return your attention to your room that you're in. And just gently take in your surroundings. I really hope that you find this exercise useful. You may wish to return to it, depending on how you feel the work went and if it was enough for you. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're enjoying my work, I'd like to remind you that my books are currently open for astrology readings and for astro coaching. With both of them, we look more closely at your planetary placements and see how I can help you navigate life at the moment. So if you'd like to know more, please contact me through my website, which is shown on the information at the bottom of this recording. Thank you so much.